Ev3. There were a lot of important events, like the Great Depression, which was caused by a stock market crash, and it was known as Black Thursday. In 1945, the Cold War started, and it was a period of geopolitical tension between the Soviet Union and the US, because they were two great world powers. In 1948, the US rebuilt post-war Europe through the Marshall Plan. In 1954, the first successful organ transplant was made. In 1960, Sirimavo made history by being the first woman elected as a head of government. In 1969, the Cold War influenced the birth of the Internet. In the decade of the 1980s, the Soviet Union fell, and there was the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, and the separation of the Soviet Union in 1991. In August 24 of 1995, Bill Gates launched Windows 95. In 1998, Google began. In 2001, 9/11 happened, and they were Islamic extremist group attacks on the US. In November 13, 2015, there was a terror attack in Paris. The 31st December of 2019, COVID was announced as a pulmonary disease. Globalization is a dependence of world economies, or it is also the interdependence between countries because of their interaction, and it can include the society and social, cultural, and technological processes in which they interact. An example is Halloween, which is from the US but has been adapted by almost every country. Terrorism is the use of violence, usually against civilians or a government, and it is in pursuit of political aims. Some reasons are beliefs, politics, or religion. Unipolar world is when a single state or nation military has most of the power over the world, and when it has the most social and cultural influence. For example, the US nowadays and after the fall of the Soviet Union. The digital era is where we live in right now, and it is the meaning that we can do everything with computers and internet. We can access easily information. For example, now I couldn't do this video without technology. Globalization emerged a lot of time ago. The term started being used formally since the Cold War, but because it is the change in cultures and the inspiration of other societies and another country's culture, it has been happening since trades began and since traveling began. Terrorist attacks in the 20th century are mostly because of power. Everyone wants to have more power and more control, so that's why there are so many terrorist attacks. The Cold War relates to the unipolar world because before the Cold War, there were the two bigger powers. We were in a bipolar world, which was the Soviet Union and the US. After that, when the US won over the Soviet Union, they became the most influential country with more power. And the digital era has influenced a lot because it made information more easily to access to everyone, and you could spread news more easily, so a lot of people became supportive of other causes, and they began to support each other and send support to other people that were having a hard time.